Well, hello my friends and welcome to the glorious Soviet Republic of Padonin. You are very nice to be here and I think you may like very much our town. Well, welcome guys, it is Workers and Resources Soviet Republic that we're taking a look at. This is just an amazing game. There's still a lot to be done here, and this is actually a game currently being taken on by a single developer. It's just one guy doing all this by himself. But I think what this is trying to recreate is sort of a Soviet bloc town or city, and the way that it pretty much operates. Now, the game has a lot of different things, and I couldn't possibly go into every single one right here, but I can tell you this. You start off with nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. Now, since this is, an early access version, you do start off with a tremendous amount of rubles and spendable cash. Well, what I mean to say is that you start in the middle of the forest, and you have to build everything from scratch. Another thing you have to pretty much control in this game is the transportation of your citizens and of your resources. All of these trucks moving from factory to factory, I had to assign those trucks to do that, to be able to actually gain resources here. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be generating anything at all. And as you can see, we also need a tremendous amount of jobs for our people to remain happy. You know, for each according to his... God, you should know your communist sayings, Agrippa, come on. I've lived way too long in a capitalist country, really. Is it for each according to his ability, to each according to his need? Come on, guys. We need to make sure that every single person has a job, and that's one of the important things here in Soviet Republic. Now, we also have some doctors over here in the hospital helping patients, but the interesting thing about that is these doctors don't just happen to come across our beautiful little Soviet town and join up. No. That's not how it happens. We actually have to build flats for people, and at that point, we can decide whether we want to invite immigrants from the third world. They're pretty easy to please, and they really don't expect a lot except maybe food and clothing. We can invite immigrants from other Soviet bloc countries, and they usually are pretty tough to please. And then, of course, we can invite 5 immigrants experts from Soviet bloc countries. These are doctors, factory owners, industrialists, people that can actually, really change things. Probably not industrialists, but factory owners specifically, engineers, things like that. And we can actually invite them as well. We're actually going to go ahead and invite a few of those. And once we actually build these beautiful flats up, we're not done. See, these people are not just going to automatically go to a job interview like in a dirty capitalist country. That's just ridiculous, guys. You need to assign them their actual jobs. So, for instance, over here, I've actually already suggested to the people in the Padonin flats that they should go to the woodcutting post, the sawmill, and the bus platform to be able to, of course, get started. Now, that brings up an entirely new part of the game, the transportation aspect, which is really, really cool, and shows off some pretty cool East German, as well as Russian, Czechoslovakian, Yugoslavian, all sorts of different vehicles from the period. Now, I've actually been meaning to get something else up here to make sure that our glorious workers have as many jobs as possible, and that's going to be a coal mine. Yeah, I know, not the most environmentally friendly thing in the world, but listen, it makes money, and we can, of course, sell maybe to Western nations, or we can just go ahead and use it for our own nation. So I'm going to go ahead and build a coal mine, and admittedly, I haven't discovered 100% everything about the game regarding where you want to build the coal mine exactly, but I've built just a coal mine in the middle here and still managed to extract coal from it. Not sure if that's something that was just added in, or is going to be changed in the future where you actually can get a richer vein in certain locations. That being said, guys, we have to do the next most important thing, and that is to go ahead and get some residential buildings here. After all, how are you going to have people to be able to work in this coal mine if you don't have some brick buildings nearby for them to go in there and actually start working? We've already got a bus depot here, but we probably want to get a bus depot over here as well. And another thing I'm going to do is get a pub. A little bit of entertainment is never a bad thing for our people. Of course, we want this thing leading off into the street so that people can eventually reach it by bus. Of course, they can walk from the bus stop, but occasionally you have some buildings that you need to drop resources off at for them to operate. Stores are an example of this. And in fact, let's take a look at a store right now. We've got the Padonin grocery store, and thankfully we do have some meat because I've got a meat factory over here. So people are getting their goods, but if we click on one of these buildings, we can see people are unable to get clothes, and people were also unable to get to the hospital. Well, that's unacceptable, and the only way to really get a clothing factory or clothes is to import them or, of course, make them ourselves. We're not going to do that. We're just going to go ahead, take a look at food and crops. No, no, no. Maybe various industry? Clothing factory. We could actually get a clothing factory and a fabric factory, but we're not going to do that later. And once we actually get a certain technical college, guys, that's another thing we can do, is we can add education here. Then we can start researching other improvements for our people. But a technical college is pretty massive, and currently I just really want to focus on getting our people jobs and situated and not worry too much about the college aspect of things. Alright, so let's see, we've got this building here. Let's go ahead. We're going to invite some immigrants from the third world. We're even going to get some wealthier immigrants. And as for jobs, we know where they want to work, and it should be at the glorious coal mine. I mean, look at that, guys. We're giving you your job right away. We'll also have some work at the Padonin pub, and we'll probably get another building up and running here. But one thing I want to do is I want to jump into our vehicles depot, and I want to actually purchase a brand new transport vehicle here. Now, as you can see, we got a tremendous amount of different vehicles, not just including transport vehicles, but bulldozers, cranes, whatever you need them for. And you can, of course, assign them to specific areas if you'd like, specific buildings, and they'll kind of do their thing on their own. But you do eventually have to manage some of the import-export from buildings. That's one of the micromanaging things that maybe not everybody is going to like about this game, but I really enjoy it. I think it's really cool. All right, so let's see. We'll set up gathering point right here. We're just going to make this a 2-station bus. Actually, no, I'm lying. We're going to make it a 3-station bus. And we'll go ahead and start, guys. Once we start, she is going to go ahead and leave the bus depot and begin her journey in our glorious Soviet Republic. Now, it's up to you how big you want your Soviet Republic to be. If you want it to just be a small little town, or if you want to grow out glorious, 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 massive-sized republic and have a bunch of different buildings going all the way to the edges here. Now, if you look at the borders there, those are actually Western nations. I know it's weird, but it's kind of like Transnistria for anybody that knows about that country. It's a tiny, tiny country wedged in between Moldova and Ukraine, and it's still technically its own sort of Soviet dictatorship. It's a very tiny piece of land, and not even respected or noticed by most other countries. That being said, that's kind of what this is like, and if we eventually want to trade with those nations, we can do that, or trade with those villages, we can do that, and of course bring in more resources, but for now we want to stay here. You can just see, of course, the scope, though. It's pretty massive. Another thing is the way that you change the area around you. Glorious socialism does mess with the environment just a little bit. To give you an example, we had a huge forest right here, and in the span of about a year, guys, it has completely been cut down, and I've taken most of the stuff to the sawmill, where, as you can see, we've got a bunch of boards here. Speaking of which, we need to go ahead, get another truck, specifically an open hull vehicle, and I'm glad you guys could see this, and we have to actually go ahead and drop some stuff off from the sawmill. We're going to go ahead and select this sawmill as our first stop, and we're going to drop it off in our warehouse, guys. And hopefully this is eventually where we are going to be able to export to other areas and start making a few rubles for ourselves. Now, again, this is made by one guy, and right now, you know, for us early access folks, we get a lot of rubles there. It's like 10,000 and 2,000 US dollars. Yes, you can buy US vehicles as well, but I don't think that the Politburo is going to look very kindly upon you. And I'm sure when the game comes out, it's not going to be like you're going to get 10,000, or excuse me, 10 million. It's going to be maybe you'll get 10,000 or 100,000, and you have to start really small and sort of work your way up. But I just love looking at this city, and of course, you can build it any way you want, guys. We've got a nice comrade bar here with some wonderful vodka and beer inside. We've got our buses going by. You could just kind of watch your people live their lives, of course. You can expand your town, your city, whatever. You can even, of course, as you can imagine, change the name. And then we get into the population statistics, and this will give you kind of important information and some revealing facts about the state and nature of your country itself. So, for example, 9 births, 50 immigrants, no deaths, but 19 escapes. So people are escaping from our country. Now, currently in the game, we have something that I'm not really sure prevents escape, but certainly lets people think twice before leaving the glorious Republic of Padonin in our case. One of the things we can do there is go to trees and accessories. Getting parks up is always nice. It looks good. But I think also some Soviet monuments go a pretty good long way at establishing dominance in the area. So we're going to actually put a hammer and sickle right here. Just a Soviet hammer and sickle. And hopefully this will dissuade some folks. I'm not sure if the developer plans to put in, maybe like security outposts, border checkpoints, military facilities, but I think that would be pretty cool. Another way, of course, to keep your people here is just to give them jobs, give them sources of entertainment, stores to go to. We still haven't gotten them that clothing shop, but that's something else we could get them. And you might even be able to make glorious communism work. It's completely up to you guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick first look gameplay video. I would love to do a Let's Play series on this game. I'm absolutely addicted to it. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you definitely want to see a Let's Play series, hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more videos like this. Thank you so much, friends, and I'll see you on the next one. For Padonin. Oh, did I mention the soundtrack is absolutely amazing? Yeah.